Kelly, you talk about the curvature of oppression and privilege. Can you explain exactly what you mean by that for me? And I'm sure a lot of people here would like to hear about that in more detail. And Andrew, I'd like to hear about how your privilege has changed since your transformation from a woman to a man.
And I'll be giving you, my opinion of that, obviously. So, yes.
All right, the contours of privilege and oppression. What do I mean by that? We are all occupying a number of different social statuses at any moment, right? I mean, obviously, if you identify as a woman, then there are certain privileges and certain oppressions that go along with that in our daily lives, right? But those are often hidden from us because we just take them for normal. We just act like they're average. One of the things that I've worked on as well is the idea of beauty privilege, and what does that mean for women in particular, as a currency in particular. So I'll give you an example of this with my own self as my work does. So I have what some people would call here. Wait, let me just stand up. I have tall, pretty people privilege sometimes, right? It's a real thing. Yeah? But I also, at other times, depending on who's looking at me, I have fat woman invisibility. Okay? So, and I occupy an interesting position in this issue because depending on who's looking at me and where they set the bar, that can change from moment to moment. Yeah? Like I can be in the post office and somebody's looking at me and they are giving me tall, pretty people privilege, kind of, they're interested in what I'm saying and they're making eye contact and they're, happy to help me out. And then I can turn to the next person and that person looks at me and goes, yeah, fat woman, invisible. Right? And that looks like, yeah, what do you want from me? And why am I even listening to you? And let me go on about my... Do you see what I mean here? That is the undulating moment between privilege and oppression. Now, if we can start to uncover those moments in our everyday lives, all of us, we will find, I believe, that there are a whole lot of commonalities around which we can then organize, around which we can actually do something. But while those privileges and oppressions are invisible to us, we really can't do shit. We really, because there's no point in getting to, we just kind of talk about, oh yeah, well, feminism, well, whatever, it's just, that's kind of old and it's, it doesn't connect on to anything. So I hope that helps. Yeah.
Yeah, so Andrew, on to how has your life changed?
Yeah, look, absolutely. And all I think I need, well, I'm going to say more than this, but ditto. And I mean that, and that's kind of the point I think I'm loving to be able to say here today is that I'm just doing my thing, but it's actually not that different from what everybody else is doing their thing. Like I was a pretty lesbian, and similar to you, there were times where I'd walk into a club and it's like, oh, well, don't you just think you're too cool for school? And I'm like, I just walked in the freaking door. Can I get a drink? And it's exactly the same thing. Like, you have those issues. Whatever image you have, you're going to have moments of exactly that. I walk in and it's like, well, aren't you the hottest gay boy ever? And I'm like, no, I'm not. But other times I walk into a convenience store and it's like I'm this little guy where they're like, you know what I mean? So I feel like it's exactly the same thing moment to moment. And I need to identify this at the moment. I don't actually identify as much, and I know that sounds a bit weird, but I'm not male and I'm not female. That's for my own personal sense of self. So when you let go of the image of who you are, you really live in a void of existence of that moment to moment, where 1 minute I'm getting a good sense of gratification for who I am in this point, the next minute I'm being squashed. That was the same when I was Anna, that was the same when I was a kid, when I was at school, that was the same when I was freaking travelling the world with businessmen first class, and that's the same now when I'm dealing with surgeons, that some of them are saying, so why are you transitioning? I mean, women come in here and I can see, men come in here, I can see why they want to change into a woman, but why do you want to change into a man? Like, that stuff still all exists no matter what you're actually doing, and it's really interesting to know that it's not anything specific about you as a person, that you're just encountering that part.
In that moment.
In that moment.
Yeah. Very cool.